Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Indah Satyawati. I am the student of Pamula University and I'm here for presentate the historical background of psycholinguistic. And next, the history of psycholinguistic is divided into three main. The first is psycholinguistic definition. The second is antecedent of modern psychology. And the last is the beginning of the modern era in psycholinguistic. We next to the definition of psycholinguistic. Psycholinguistic is conducted by two words separately, that is psychology and linguistic. Psychology is the scientific study of human behavior and cognition. Psychology is the study of how people behave, think, and feel. Psychologists study everything about the human experience, from the basic workings of the human brain to consciousness, memory, reasoning, and language, to personality and mental health. Linguistic, the scientific study of language. It encompasses the analysis of every aspect of language, as well as the methods for studying and modeling them. And this two word is combination. These two study form new discipline, modern scientific, called psycholinguistic. Next, antecedents of modern psychology. The original description of Broca's 1861 and Wernicke's at 1874. Hypotheses were of particular importance for emergence of psycholinguistics as an independent discipline, but concrete progress came from the work of Wilhelm Wundt. Wilhelm Wundt, who found the first officially research laboratory for psychological research at the University of Leipzig, Germany. At 1879, he was a psychologist, doctor, and professor, nowadays widely regarded as the father of experimental psychology. The last one is the beginning of the modern era in psycholinguistic. In this era, the approach is divided into three main approaches. There's three critical moments in history of language acquisition research. The first one is linguistic approach. The second is learning theory approach. And the third is information theory approach. All this approach is opposed by Chomsky, Fodor, and others, and the information theory approach, which was generally important for cognitive psychology. Linguistics in North America made a strong impact on the cognitive psychology, emerging in the 1950s. That is proposed called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. North Americans date the history of psycholinguistics from the 1950s, but most linguists would agree that psycholinguistics actually started in the mid to late 1960s. Psycholinguistic research on child language acquisition and learning in the 1960s and early 70s heavily relied on the transformational generative model proposed by Noam Chomsky, a famous American linguist and cognitive scientist. And then the transformational generative model was later adapted for the processing and comprehension of speech. Next, modern psycholinguistics has turned to new functionally related and socially oriented models of language structure research because the results of this aerial work show controversy and inclusiveness. But these studies are always improving following the years. Thank you. I think that's enough for my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.